We're going to the park to play. He picks up his blond son, holds him in the crook of his arm. The man looks over at me like I'm intruding on he and his small son's privacy. I guess I am. Okay. How much time we got?
We have 2 more minutes.
Oh, good. That's perfect. All right. Oh, I like this. Okay. This is CCSF, or City College of San Francisco, 2013. CCF, SF, 1987 to 1989. CCSF 2013, accreditation in peril, along with the accrediting agency's accreditation. No one and nothing is immune from extinction. The traffic cop, animated, livens up the gloom for this time of enforcement. Bright colored vest on in the middle of Phelan Boulevard. He dances about, okay, here we go, he barks at the cars and waves them through as young community college students, 1 or 2 not so young, trying to cross the street. Happy morning to you all, he says. Please stand by. Cars are on the road. His 6-foot, 200-pound frame fills up the middle non-lane. Various cultures of people cross the street. Cigarette odor on the bodies of youthful people trying to survive shaky class continuation.
Thank you, Cooper. And our next poet is Peter.
Oh.
How are you, Peter?
Oh, well.
I usually start by giving sort of a PSA announcement about our beleaguered industry. Ex Libris is finally going to send out synopsis to producer and directors' websites. And it's a print-on-demand publisher, and so they're keeping me waiting for 6 weeks to write a little synopsis and then go to the producer and director's websites. They're probably not online for free with Google, but maybe something will come of it. This is from Inward Bounding. It's an anthology that I kind of forgot about when trying to get the novel out there. And this is called What Has Happened So Far, Thus Far, So Far. First it came. Then we made 2. The cell split. Now there are others. Weather permitting, we crawl into other life, making changes as time allows. Societies become microcosm for self. Animals make rules, live to live. Then we come along, imitating other animals, until someone picks up a stick. Flatten it and spin it around, and you have wheel that moves us and our seed around, until we settle. Wheel broken, and the seeds sprout. We stay in clearing, until someone else sees us, and will take our seed, and make more for all. Then all becomes others' concerns, and someone at the top can take more seed and build a big house to store it in. My house is not as big as the other ruler across the sea, who drinks human sacrifice from gold he discovered to dazzle others as their clay cup dried out. Pennants become spears to take others' gold. Men learn to hoard while women plant seed, and men plant seed into women before going off to fight for others' gold. They will win and live to tell their children. The old man never dies, sitting at the head of us, his head veiled from vermin, and God is born from death. That never happens. The veil becomes decorated, and only a few can wear it, while the rest of us look on and live our lives for the watching of the chosen. Their life being different from ours, written in blazing gold tablet, becoming tabloid in the telling. Some can sing it, others can festoon it, all live the dance until someone questions it. Opinion is invented through dissent, and they all die knowing they're right. Because what else can you do with intelligence except measure each response while watching time, and you become sworn authority writing it down for others to disagree. The measurements remain, though, and time adds other findings, gathered and bound in scrolls for eternal storage. The language changed to prevent the masses from stealing it. Meanwhile, fields are dissected and fields are born, while life becomes sung, carved, broidered, acted out, analyzed, fought over, worshipped, seldom cherished, as love colors us in and out, flickering in the beyond of our endeavors. We finally have a democracy that can be copied into empire until excess is unheard of by the early field robbers, life imitating art, and orgy of banquet. The world is ours, and we live in orgasmic, kill-for-the-moment splendor that cannot be felt by a small tribe dispossessed that takes our party into the other world, because this life doesn't matter anymore. We all spend about 1,000 years not living, but waiting to die, and being nice about it to others, while carving elaborate tunes to ourselves, until someone named Masaccio remembers the good times that used to be, and we start killing and fondling ourselves for gain again, singing and painting about it, the party heating up again, until someone cries foul, and we kill him too. He wouldn't have it any other way. But the party restarts science, and we look for other worlds in earnest this time. By exploring the beyond that makes our confinement bearable, while at home we have our kings amassing unheard of power, life revolving around absolute divine right for most of us not to have it. There is a whole era of grandeur for a son to hate his father through, lighting his reign with pleasure, as once a race of giants vie to make delicate snuff box, but eventually lace handkerchiefs are brought more coyly, and skirts or chest, and we dream of a purer past, while industrious are building a much more complex future. Explosion becoming invention, we wake from to find a new century we never will recover from. The past is gilded over as decadent reaction, and world-conquering empires rise not a third time to take dictators away from us. Society becomes numb tool because one man's mad vision will not take equal rights for all. We fight like hell for that not to happen, then spend 10 years in recovery only to have the young hate the quiet past and their fathers again trying to stir things up with their young sex. We recover from that again because it feels so good it can kill us, so bad we haven't had it since they thought the world would end the first time. The young shave their heads to purge their fathers out of them, not a third time. Now science is trying to mask to appeal to forever young as image belies the no confident. Our future will be up to us. Other worlds beckon us to repeat the process all over again, starting with a footprint in the dust on the moon that is waiting for us to go on. Okay, this one's called What's Happening? Nobody ever asks me anything. Strikes, crashes, floods, news. Everyone has an opinion on everything, so why don't I? Can I lift a finger and change the way a leaf falls? Can I do good to help the flood victims? I'm here. How can I help you? What good is it anyway? The thin filaments that derail a train will weave themselves around me someday. Then I guess I'll get involved. Okay, Red Hot Mama becoming Barbie. Fresh-faced dolls hatched in suburban incubators meet former Red Hot Mamas, now littering small-town side streets, talking to themselves the way Janice used to. We were young and earthy beautiful once, until country club dress codes became enforced again in our sagging natural TITS. We couldn't force into new stringent bra the young don't need, but they are swelling less each day as prepubescent bulge forces us to compete with tighter lines as our face ages a little more each day. But we still rock till our rolls shake. It is right under your staring eyes we can't see. So ourselves, because youth is, don't be cruel until it's gone. time to start again. Age withers world as ages pass, as far as ages go, come and go. Again, let's take time. Make other times right before our eyes. Water them alive because they were and we will be. It happened, of that we can be sure. We happened, then stage left, exit right. It all comes in stages. Ages you're preserved, you big amber aspic. Let's all make not jam with jelly, but let flow of our past us before. No, I'm sorry.
Turning pages.
Before it does, I write these long poems and we are lost. Present, no presence, forget the will be, now is nevermore. All right was, now is not. What will be? Maybe. This is called Cycle Read. The creative genius in me will never know what it be like to stamped out by ordinary. Even the orderlies are irregular, and their flow sometimes interrupts. Every system has its future rule to consider when overthrowing old. Then the next system comes along, scratching young heads too old to care. The only certainty changes at will, because I will refuse to change and become refuse for the next. Okay, I thank you, kids. I wish I could give better reports on my industry or chances to get something out there, but
Okay.
that will be.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Peter. Okay. For those of you that have just come in, we're being videotaped. If you do not want to be videotaped, please let Mr. Natural know, and then he won't videotape you. Okay. So our next poet is actually our selected poet, Barbra Smith.
Yes. Can somebody put the microphone down?
Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mr. Natural. I discovered, by the way, that if I update my flash player, I can see the actual video of these things. So I'll go home tonight and evaluate how I did. Now, this binder, which I just picked up from Kinko's on my way here, is the 97 poems, which I have written since I went to Robert Harry's in the final week of March. And out of 97 poems, I think there are probably 2 or 3 that are actually pretty good. Come on.
That's the way I work too.
Anyway, I decided to start by trying to put post-it stickers in this thing to mark things I wanted to be sure that I read, and the post-it stickers were unduly difficult to handle. So I'm going to hit a few of the things that I thought were highlights and then see what we've got, which will lead to some of those moments like Johnny likes. This one's called In This Fallow Season, for Valerie. Yesterday, impecunious in this fallow season, I arranged for a gift, some DVDs you wanted, to be sent on your birthday. Topping that off with a nice floral arrangement, I saw no need to clutter up with teddy bears or mylar balloons. Years now into this longing, I have come so far from hopefulness, there is no need to speculate about your response to this bounty. No point anymore in trying to pretend such offerings will soften your obdurate heart. No matter. What little I've learned of love suggests we see it clearly only in memory. Suggests there comes a point in every life when solitude is as certain as the scrimshaw of winter branches on a bleached bone sky.
Yes.
What then? We give for the sake of giving, for remembrance. And if every gift takes us a little deeper into loneliness, it imparts as well a bittersweet blessing, like deepening twilight, anticipating the splendor of the darkness.
Wow.
This one's called We Can't Exactly Say. This vague uneasiness grown so pervasive may only be a consequence of age. So many whom we loved already gone, we find ourselves bewildered by a deadness that settles in the corners of our lives. Memories a slideshow from a simpler time, events forgotten and the clothing strange, faces familiar but the colors wrong. And what was that address where we lived once? A phone number that we always knew by heart, unanswered now by anyone alive, that rings and rings in a house long since torn down. Now, this one is one of the two that I thought were really good. We haven't hit the other one yet. This is an interesting thing. I'm just going to say a brief note about this. My mentor on the East Coast, Barry Scheinkoff, who published my Smoke in Cold Weather book, wanted me to cut the first two stanzas of the original version of this so as to make what is now the final line, And it took me a week to realize that instead of cutting the first two stanzas, all I really had to do was rearrange the order. So anyway, this is called The Widower Considers Candles. I miss those thin white saints haloed in benign combustion, their quiet casual martyrdom, wax feathering to wings, scenting the night with a hint of the hive. But I will not have them in this place. They mimic the melancholy sheen that settles on loss, the flames that took your mortal body once you were gone, dancing their mad, incandescent dance. So there are none in my cupboards, perhaps unfortunate given that ours is a time devoted to darkness. The wick of the moon is at the window, and dusk has been falling for years.
Yes.
Lovely images.
That was the first one I thought was really good. This is the other one. This is called The Awful Dominion of Brightness. As when harsh light flares on the chrome of an abandoned car, or ignites tenement windows an instant before sunset, pinpricks burn through the film, a glimpse of something quivering beyond the scope of any human language, even prayer. Perhaps this is what the prophets really meant by God, the awful dominion of brightness.
Yes.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, more than that because I've been gone for a couple of weeks, several weeks ago, there was a man called Bob who was here, and he got to talking about taking photographs of the moon and how difficult it was. And I said, oh, that would be a great subject for a poem. So this poem is called Taking Snapshots of the Moon. Clumsy with a camera, I have never attempted it, but a photographer assures me the experience has much to teach us. Consider, for instance, how in fact we are capturing sunlight, an echo in a dusty mirror, the afterglow of absence, a radiance not quite exactly there. And take care not to overexpose the image. This glimpse of fire burns more brightly than we know. How like the brilliance living leaves behind, the warmth, the scent, the handprints of the dead still cling to things they loved and used, if only faintly, diminishing traces invisible now, even by moonlight. All right, what else have we got? Some weeks ago, I was actually off on a Thursday afternoon, and I thought I would be able to go to Robert Harry's Right On group, and I got sick. So I felt so depressed about missing the group that I wrote a poem about being sick and not being able to go. And the first word is a word I actually did not know, which is serendibite, which turns out is a black gemstone recently discovered. Mr. Natural's nodding as though he's heard of it.
Yeah, just saw it in the news. Yeah.
So this is called serendibite, sick in bed while on vacation. In today with a headache and a bad cold, I sleep past noon, troubled by strange dreams, and miss a poetry workshop I had been looking forward all week to attending. There is nothing I really feel like doing. The silent television is a serendibite, a rare black gemstone from Malaysia, I think, or somewhere exotic like that. Actually, I never heard of a serendibite until I looked it up just now. But I really like the sound of the word and figure it ought to be good for something. Anyway, I am on vacation and I'm sick. My mind rebels at the injustice of this. I'm too exhausted to enjoy being lazy. And the darkness gives back only a tiny image of my window, like a flaw in dark stone, a singularly bleak brightness, and a little square of sky threatening rain, the shrunken likeness of my diminished life. This is one of my most recent poems. I love it when Owen says this is my most recent poem. Well, this isn't, but it was one that I wrote on Thursday. So, as Buford says, he and I work as teachers' aides for the district. And a couple of years ago, well, the poem talks about this, but I used the same paperclip for an entire year because on my salary I was damned if I was going to spend any money. So then a coworker asked me, to write a poem about paperclips, and this is called Paperclips. Working as a teacher's aide, underpaid and always short of cash, I make it a point of honor never to spend money on school supplies if I can help it, and so jealously guard and reuse a single paperclip for nearly a year. Ridiculous in retrospect, I know. When I relate the tale to a friend, she asks for a poem about paperclips, and I perceive these neatly curled bits of wire like flourishes in some arcane calligraphy, clothed in blunted chrome, as quiet martyrs, unobtrusive emblems of enduring poverty. Such deprivation is implicit in the way they leave a rust-brown stain on faded fool's cap, the shadow of a dreaming worm or an old bone sucked thin, the way the curvature of the soft metal echoes the elements of an electric stove, forever dark and cold, in a room with no lights and nothing to eat.
Wow.
Let's see, I want to see what else I marked. That one I already did, okay. I think these posted flags are actually doing more harm than good. Did that one. Hang on.
You have to write a poem about the post.
There you go. There you
Well,
go.
I probably will.
Well, when they're all the same color, it's hard to tell them apart.
Well, it's hard to find where they are
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
And it was too hard to open the damned container.
There's a poem.
We did that. All right. Let's see what else we got. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, how I wonder what I wrote. Oh, that's interesting. One of them actually doesn't have the, that doesn't matter. Ah, this is one I wanted to do. This is one I know Sally likes, although she couldn't be here today. This is called Beginning the Story. The way moonlight tumbles through a glass of whiskey in a darkened room is perhaps a suitable starting point. But it is not enough. We require as well an open window, a bitten moon, a raven so large the wires sag beneath its weight, an enigma with eyes like shards of glass. If the night is starless, so much the better. One cannot, however, attach too much importance to omens. An ivory letter opener from another century, ornately carved, lies on a blotter near the whiskey, pale against paper stained by the dimness of this world. A letter opener hungry for news of some place from which no word has come for a long time. Okay. I think at this point I have done all the ones that I marked to do. How much time have I got? Do we know?
7.
7 more minutes? Good. Oh, here's a poem about a religious experience. This is called Sister Valerie Shakes That Tambourine. Stained light drips off the pews like water as she rises from her seat, the pale tambourine fluttering like grace in her hand, a circle of ecstatic skin. This is resurrection morning, and at the keyboard the pastor's fingers punctuate every syllable of the word, every sonorous certainty. Let the walls tremble, the roof beams overhead groan like oaks before a mighty wind. Let the beneficent Christ in one window, hair grayed by decades of sunlight, cast his eyes skyward in supplication. Sister Valerie's ample form sways to the music, swells with the blessing, a cloth gardenia in her hair, her blouse tight, her body jiggling with salvation of a more physical nature. Thanks. That was one of those that I wouldn't have done if she was here. I've known a couple of people in my life who've been murdered, and this was a poem about one of them. This is called Requiem for a Fisherman, in memory of Bursell Cox, died circa 1969. I remember your smile as you guided the rod in my tiny hands, pointing at a barracuda I couldn't see among the corals. How I heard years later your body had been discarded, bullet in your brain, floating face down in the shallows off Miami, mouth leaking a billowing trail of blood like a hooked marlin. This is called Plugged Nickel. In certain lights, the azure of my eyes, ripe with the humid morning of my birth, becomes the leaden gray of a plugged nickel, a token pressed on the dull stare of a corpse. What are we really, any of us, but a dash between two dates, like the stammer on a telegraph of an appeal gone astray? Ah, that was that all I'll let Johnny. You guys know what a villanelle is? Of course you do.
Yes.
Okay, every now and then I'll try to write a villanelle, and I tried one on Thursday because I'd read one somewhere and just wanted to do it. And this one probably sounds as natural as any that I've done, but I don't think I've quite nailed the emotional thing of it. A villanelle is a French form that has to do with the first and third lines of the first stanza repeat at regular intervals throughout. So this is called On the Terrace, like the terrace of a cafe. These days, our apathy is everywhere. A palpable presence on an average day, like something brittle hanging in the air. Children with sunlight threaded through their hair may meet our eyes, but quickly look away. These days, our apathy is everywhere. A wound the gentle weather can't repair bleeds the bright blaze of August to dull gray, like something brittle hanging in the air. The dirty secret neither wants to share seems to infect what little we do say. These days, our apathy is everywhere. We raise our empty glasses to despair, a bitter taste no words will wash away, like something brittle hanging in the air. No point pretending now we even care. Neglected, all enthusiasms fray. These days, our apathy is everywhere, like something brittle hanging in the air. And I just fell upon two more that I'd really like to read, so that should be just about the right amount of time. This is called Nothing New to Say About the Sky. Today there is nothing new to say about the sky. The weather is, as always, indifferent to human striving, regardless of latitude or climate. The budding light proclaims it May in this hemisphere, but what does that signify? Wisps of cirrus cloud, like scars nearly healed, fade from the thin late morning blue. Circling gulls glide in the air, miles from the sea. All at once I recall a pigeon trapped in the Baroque dome of Sacré-Cœur, Montmartre, 35 years ago. How that false sky, festooned with angels, offered no escape, as this sky does now. This one's called Old Man Reading Yiddish. At the bus shelter, an unkempt elderly man, stubbled with wild white hair, soiled corduroy cap, a figure straight out of some gelatin print of a strike, say, back in the 20s, cradles on his knees a battered book, spine broken, loose brown pages stained by the raindrops just now beginning to fall. His eyes move right to left over marshaled rows of Hebrew characters, squaring their shoulders like the determined ranks of a vanished proletariat.
There's a speck of dust, we ought to talk about it, there's a speck of dust, 45-degree angle.
We'll keep that in mind.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. Real pleasure to be able to read here. I will be, thank you. Thank you, Ricardo.
Okay.
I'll race you.
Very nice reading.
Johnny,
You really know how to end the show.
Oh, thank you.
All of
I just decided at the time that I really picked up on the new stuff and started reading from
Oh, he
it.
doesn't mind that. He put a cable.
Okay.
oh,
Do I have to use the microphone?
No, but
Okay. But I do want to be video.
I was gonna say, but if you're complaining about not being heard,
Oh, you know what?
I don't have to worry about that. Okay.
no, I'm up close today, just so I can get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look great.
Okay, this is a revision to a recent poem that I wrote, inspired by that, well, what I thought was at first goodness gracious, a thick pink stick of chewing gum.
Oops. Oh, right.
It was inscribed "Oops" on it.
Yeah.
And I discovered that it was not a stick of chewing gum, but it was an oversized eraser. And I have, thank you, Johnny. This is what I'm speaking about. I bought a few of them and I gave them away in raffles, and Johnny won one of them.
I sort of hesitate to ask how you discovered it wasn't chewing gum, not the hard way.
So the poem is called "Say Oops." My wedding ring has fallen into the soup, and my puppy dog has pooped on the stoop. Say oops, say oops. Yesterday I found what I thought was a thick stick of pink chewing gum inscribed "Oops" in black capital letters with a bold exclamation point. To my surprise, the thick stick of pink chewing gum turned out to be an oversized eraser, proudly displayed on my desk today to remind me to say oops whenever I make a faux pas. Say oops, say oops.
Right.
Next poem is called Writer's Block Blues. No more poems to write, no more love songs to sing. I've got the writer's block blues. I'm trapped in the cul-de-sac and I can't get back. I'm stuck somewhere in the blank space between the lines. The ink won't flow from my poetry pen. I'm afraid I'll never write again. I'm going to leave this old town behind, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find my creative mind. I've got the writer's block blues. I've got the writer's block blues. Next poem is called My Boogie Woogie Shoes. Hound dog, don't you? My new blue boogie woogie shoes. I'm stepping out with my baby. Gonna grab me some booze. Baby and hound dog too. We're gonna boogie until the moon turns blue. We're gonna boogie until the troops come home from war, and till the giants win once more. Boogie on the rooftops, boogie on the sidewalk, boogie all around, and we're all dancing in our blue boogie woogie shoes to the boogie woogie blues. We're gonna boogie until the moon turns blue. Hound dog, don't you? My new blue boogie woogie shoes. Next is a song I wrote for Arlo Guthrie. It's called Tumbleweed Rolling. Tumbleweed rolling down Route 66, skinny Woody Guthrie leaving the Dust Bowl behind, for California, the promised land. Carrying backpack and guitar in hand, there'll be no turning back, singing on those hungry streets for the underdog, singing on those hungry streets for the working man in the promised land. And the tumbleweed keeps rolling down Route 66, and the tumbleweed keeps rolling down Route 66.
Right.
Next is another song I wrote, it's called Love Explosion. Oh, jambalaya, jambalaya, you set my soul on fire. I've got the notion for a love explosion and a bottle of flat tire. It's a shrimp, chicken, and sausage concoction. Add onions, garlic, tomatoes, and hot sauce. Stir in rice, slowly add broth. Season to taste, salt, pepper, lots of love, and Creole spice. Salt, pepper, lots of love, and Creole spice. I've got the notion for a love explosion and a bottle of flat tire. It's a shrimp, chicken, and sausage concoction. Jambalaya, can't wait. Oh, jambalaya, jambalaya, you set my soul on fire.
Yeah.
Next is called the San Francisco SpeakEazy. The password is poetry. Enter at your own risk. No cover charge need apply. Exclusive club for members only. Spirits and poetry will flow incessantly. Hot tempers, brawls, and black eyes are no surprise. The San Francisco SpeakEazy. It's the best kept secret in San Francisco. And the password is poetry. Enter at your own risk. As I was walking to work one day when I was working, I just took in the sights around the city, and I started writing on my way to work this poem called Good Morning San Francisco. Jackhammers rumbling, sanitation trucks crunching, sweet sweepers sweeping, house painters painting, construction workers constructing, foghorns blowing, we scoop up the poop and tails wagging the fog. Good morning, San Francisco. Next poem is called Thank Heaven. Summer is in the air, straw hats are everywhere. Even Maurice Chevalier is wearing his straw hat today, is wearing his straw hat in heaven today, and singing, thank heaven for little girls and summertime too. Baseball, bath, barbecues, and straw hats. Summer is here to stay. Those straw hats are everywhere, straw hats galore, and there's no more for me to say except thank heaven. I made a couple of trips to Palm Springs the past couple of years to visit my father, who passed away in December of 2011. This is after one of those trips I made to Palm Springs. It's called Au revoir, Palm Springs. Those palm trees standing tall will salute me when I arrive in Palm Springs. Those palm trees standing tall will bid me adieu when I leave Palm Springs behind. And my dear father will bid me adieu, like those palm trees standing tall will do when I leave Palm Springs behind for the last time. Au revoir, Palm Springs. Au revoir, Papa. There's a major street in Palm Springs called Palm Canyon Drive, and when you look up above, you see the wonderful San Jacinto Mountain. So this is called Palm Canyon Drive. Against the backdrop of San Jacinto Mountain, the moon watches over Palm Canyon Drive like a proud director watching over his stage production. Mist sprays from sidewalk cafes and restaurants, bringing comfort from the hot desert air. People are casually walking along Palm Canyon Drive without worry or care. The cafes, shops, and restaurants are bustling with conversation. It's a pristine scene in Palm Springs, and the palm trees stand like props on stage against the backdrop of San Jacinto Mountain. The moon watches over Palm Canyon Drive like a proud director watching over his stage production until the curtain falls. Now, the next little poem called Because Somebody's Got to Do It. Why do people skydive? Why do people climb mountains? Why do people deep sea dive? Why do people write poetry? Why? Because somebody's got to do it. The next poem is called Madame No. A few words in French. No means no in English. Très bien means very well. De rien means it's nothing. Sacre bleu means goddamn. Madame No. Madame No never says oui. Madame No never says oui. She may undeniably be a femme fatale, so very continental, so very non-committal. Madame No never says oui. Madame No never says merci. Madame No never says très bien. She may say de rien, she may say poupou, she may say sacre bleu. But Madame No never says oui, undeniably.
Yes.
The next poem is called Voir tout en rose, that's French for to see the bright side of everything. When the sun shines through, when a rose grows, happiness is sure to follow you. Laugh though your fears are showing, laugh though your tears are flowing, laugh like your happiness is ever glowing. Don't let true love elude you today, don't let clouds obscure your sunny day. Give yourself a lift, it's a gift to see the bright side of everything. Voir tout en rose. Laugh though your fears are showing, laugh though your tears are flowing, laugh like your happiness is ever flowing. The last one is a song I wrote called The ABCs of Love. Abandon hate, be true, call if you are late, rendezvous, reciprocate, dance at weddings, flirt, eat dessert first, initiate romance, sing a love song, kiss like kisses are out of date tomorrow. Open your heart, divulge a secret crush today, hug your dog every day. Expect trust and loyalty. We must say yes to love, share your toys, value joy, recite poetry, write love letters, just pretend it's Valentine's Day. Uncork champagne, OD on chocolate, and take a chance on love, bud. Oh, it's the ABCs of love, the ABCs of love. XO, 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 XO. Thank you. And our next poet is Ray. Okay. Good, okay.
So, hey, Ray, how are you?
He wants to be videotaped.
I know. A video, try not to cut off his head. He needs a mic.
Yes.
No, he doesn't need one, believe me. He needs to hold it under his paper. Yeah,
So,
it is.
I have poems that I've read before, but I think there'll be some that you haven't heard of. And then even the poems that I've read before, I've made some revisions. So this first poem I read last week for the first time, but anyway. So this is called Digital Transfiguration. Walking, streets blackened by night, streaks of light. Now huge, watchful, swivel-eyed metallic insects and myriads of orbiting giant orthopodal telescopes stare down at me from space. So maybe I shouldn't feel so lonely accompanied by all these thousand eyes of night here in the neon wilderness, beneath the now non-indifferent sky, beneath the now digitally scintillating Sabbath night sky, quantumly saving me in its immortal databanks of omniscient surveillance for some millennial resurrection or crucifixion.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, that's my comment on the surveillance state.
Upstage, upstage.
So, this one is called, maybe I have the darker poems in the beginning, and I have some poems later on that have some alternative maybe somewhere. Anyway, so this one is another on the darker side. Anyway, this is called The Cosmic Christ in the Neon City. Tonight, the Cosmic Christ is a denizen of desperation and the Neon City pulsation, as is, in a sense, most everyone. Now, encompassment of the Cosmic Christ head, his crown of thorns, an electrified nimbus. Yes, a halo of electricity. Now adorning the Cosmic Christ crucifix, wild, whirling light of golden and coiled neon, sequential electric lights, incandescent globes, flashing radiances, and a giant penumbra of hellish electrified red. Thank you. This one is, this poem is entitled Drone Strike in the Near East. Here is a man-made desert sandhill of death, mangled iron rods, splayed electric wires looking like wilted lightning, disconnected ganglia, dead synapses, broken concrete moistened by dewdrops of red glistening tears, a surreal sculpted monument to unspeakable grief, ornamented by flowers of flesh, human sinews, bones crushed by metal girders, the new felled logs of the cedars of Lebanon. At the bottom of the heap lies the forehead fragments, the concave shell of a mottled human skull, whereon once shone the soft crescent mother of pearl iris of dreams. Thank you. This is entitled, yeah, I made some revisions here. Anyway, this is entitled, She's Still Walking with Attitude.
Don't look at me.
Believe me, this is not about anybody here. So it's called She's Still Walking with Attitude. Inner city slum, zoo of human life, an erotic menagerie, a neon wilderness, gray concrete, gray sky. Yet she's walking with attitude, gesturing power, eyes of flaming pink flamingo feather eyelashes, a green lipstick smelling of lime, of menthol, her huge legs tattooed with solar systems, supernovas, solar flares. So citizens' eyeballs pop out. She struggles, she leans, stumbles through her world of swirling light and shadow. Yes, she somehow, erratically, walks with attitude amid her encircling, whirling windows, dripping, deliquescing doors, streets suddenly dying, sinking, sidewalk tower clocks melting, buckling.
Yeah, well.
Okay. This one is entitled The Sacred Bison. I summon the forces of earth and sky. I'll build Mayan-type pyramids to the seventh heaven. I shall transliterate the sun, a prismatic language of light. I invoke a translucent liturgy, love to the earth goddess. I shall be the mystagogue, rediscovering, retranslating revelations of resurrected nature. Inanna and Ishara, Isis and Osiris, Demeter, Persephone, Tiamat and Baal. I say burnished clay tablets cuneiform speaks of a goddess, long hidden in its literate matrix, of a goddess not fully discovered, as yet untranslated, unseen, a goddess who stands as huge in the universe, its cosmic beauty. And I'll refashion colossal calcified cave walls with the wide arc of my brush flourished in the spectral light of the cave's now feverish flame. I paint an enormous cubistic bison, a Picasso alive bison, to invoke the rebirth of a magic buffalo. In these ways, I try emulating William Blake when he, in his mighty poetry, sculpts pillars of Carrara marble in the New Jerusalem. Thank you very much. Two more short ones. This is entitled, Her Golden Breasts Are Rounded Vowels. I dream the goddess offers her breast, warm, golden, round as the roundness of vowels. She expresses her rich milk of words, wet on my lips. Her warm, blossoming breasts, full flowering breasts, yielding her honeyed milk, shining sequences of her reflective, golden words. Thank you. So this last poem is about 30 seconds long. It's entitled American Indian Blues. Columbus didn't discover the New World. He destroyed it. He replaced its pristine life with the Old World. Expansive, war-ridden Europe, encircling its global girth in a belt of death-white skulls. It's time to return the USA, not to the Aztec syndrome of Mexico, to the spirit of the Christ-like Indians of North America.
Yeah.